Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that might just change the way you wake up tomorrow. The most dangerous conversations you have aren't with other people. They're the ones you have with yourself. And most folks, they don't even realize they've been talking themselves out of greatness for years. Every single day, you look in the mirror and speak defeat over your life. I'm not good enough. I'm too late. I always mess up. I'll never be like them. And the worst part, you start to believe it. You feed your spirit junk, and then you wonder why your confidence is starving. But what if I told you that just 3 days of changing the way you speak to yourself could flip your whole mindset? I'm not here to sell you some fairy tale. I'm here to show you something real, because the way you speak to yourself is the foundation of your future. You want better. You got to start speaking better, not to your friends, not to your coworkers, but to you, because no one can hype you up like you, and no one can break you down faster either. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shift the conversation you've been having inside your head just for 3 days. That's it. 3 days of power talk, 3 days of building yourself up. And if you do it right, if you really commit, you won't want to go back. You'll feel different. You'll walk different. You'll see the shift. Why? Because you finally started speaking to yourself like someone who's got something valuable inside. Stay locked in, because what I'm about to share with you next, these 6 ways to talk to yourself, they're not fluff. They're fuel. Real, raw, and ready to set your life on fire in the best way. Let's get into it. I'm not behind, I'm just building. Say it again. Say it like you mean it, because the world will try to make you believe you're late, that you missed your shot, that you should have been further along by now. Maybe you look around and everybody seems to be doing better. They've got houses, careers, kids, businesses. And here you are, still trying to figure things out. And if you're not careful, that comparison will start to eat away at your confidence. You'll start to tell yourself, I'm behind. And that's when you start rushing, panicking, and settling for things that aren't even meant for you. But here's the truth. You are not behind. You are building, and building takes time. Nobody sees the work being done underground before the foundation is poured. Nobody sees the early mornings, the late nights, the tears, the sacrifices, the prayers, the doubts you keep quiet. But just because it's not public doesn't mean it's not progress. You are not standing still. You are setting the bricks. The thing is, when you speak to yourself like you're behind, you carry shame. You move in desperation. You rush into jobs, relationships, decisions, just to feel like you're catching up. But when you talk to yourself like you're building, you shift your mindset from pressure to patience. Builders know that greatness doesn't happen overnight. Builders don't compare blueprints. They trust the process they're in. They focus on the structure they're putting together, brick by brick. And guess what? Your life is no different. You've got dreams you're working on, and dreams take time, real time. You don't build a strong house on a shaky foundation. So if it's taking longer, that just means your foundation is being set right. It means you're not building something quick. You're building something that's going to last. And that takes longer, but it's worth it. You don't owe anybody an explanation for your pace. Your journey is yours. Your timing is yours. Your lessons are yours. Own that. Talk to yourself like someone who is working on something valuable. You're not behind, you're in progress. You're not stuck, you're growing roots. And when you stop judging yourself by someone else's timeline, you start to enjoy your own life again. You start celebrating small wins. You start appreciating the quiet seasons. You stop panicking every time you see someone post another success story on social media, because you understand that their story doesn't make yours any less powerful. It just means your chapter looks different. Let me tell you something important. There are people who look ahead, but rush through their growth. They skipped steps. They didn't build their character. They didn't heal. They didn't learn. And that's why they keep falling back. But not you. You're taking your time. You're asking hard questions. You're becoming who you need to be for where you're going. And when it all comes together, when your preparation meets your opportunity, people are going to call it overnight success, but you'll know the truth. You were building all along. That's why, for just these 3 days, I want you to stop saying, I should be further along, and start saying, I'm building something important. Speak that over your life every single day. When you wake up feeling behind, say it. When people question your progress, say it. When you feel the weight of comparison creeping in, say it. Remind yourself you are in construction, and greatness doesn't move on a rushed schedule. Every strong building had a blueprint. Every masterpiece took time, and so will you. Keep laying the bricks. Keep showing up. Keep believing in the vision, even when nobody else sees it yet. The work you're doing right now, it's not a waste. It's not a delay. It's the structure of the future you've been praying for. So for the next 3 days and beyond, speak to yourself like a builder. Say it again. I'm not behind. I'm just building. And let that truth carry you through every step forward. I deserve to be treated with respect, even by me. You've probably heard that respect is earned. But here's what most people forget. The first place you earn it is with yourself. Too many of us walk through life demanding respect from others while quietly disrespecting ourselves every single day. And it doesn't always show up loud. It's in the way we put ourselves last, the way we talk down to ourselves when we make a mistake, the way we accept treatment we know we don't deserve because we're afraid of being alone or seen as difficult. But the truth is, you can't expect anyone to treat you better than you treat yourself. Think about the way you talk to yourself. If someone else said those same words to you out loud, would you let them? If someone told you, you're not good enough, you always mess up, you'll never be enough, you'd probably cut them off and walk away. But when that voice comes from inside your own head, you let it stay. You let it sit at the table. You let it decide what kind of day you're going to have. And that's not okay. You are worthy of respect, not just from your boss, your friends, your family, your partner, but from you. Respect starts when you stop letting yourself become your own bully, when you stop shaming yourself for not being perfect, when you stop pushing your needs to the side to please everyone else. That's not strength, that's self-abandonment. And you can't keep calling it loyalty when it's really you betraying yourself. Respect shows up in how you speak to yourself. Are you kind or cruel, encouraging or exhausting? Are you building yourself up or constantly tearing yourself down? It's time to start noticing the tone in your own voice, because the most consistent voice you hear all day is yours, and it has the power to either push you forward or hold you back. You can't keep asking the world to treat you better while you're still talking to yourself like you don't matter. Respect also means honoring your limits. It means saying no when something drains you. It means not forcing yourself to stay in places where your peace is constantly disturbed. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "This doesn't work for me anymore," and walk away. You deserve to be in environments that don't require you to shrink just to fit in. And when you start respecting your boundaries, others will either rise to meet you there, or they'll fall away. Either way, you win. Another part of self-respect, letting go of guilt for choosing yourself. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to ask for what you need. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to change your mind. Stop talking to yourself like someone who always has to prove their worth. you were born worthy. And if nobody else ever says it to you, let me say it right now, you deserve to be treated well. Period. For the next 3 days, I want you to pay attention. Every time you catch yourself being harsh, stop and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, don't say it to yourself either. Replace that voice with one that speaks with care, one that reminds you that messing up doesn't make you a mess, that having a bad day doesn't make you a failure, that needing help doesn't make you weak. Speak to yourself like someone who matters, because you do. This isn't about being soft. It's about being real. Real respect is quiet, consistent, and powerful. When you walk into a room with self-respect, people can feel it. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to over-explain. You don't have to tolerate nonsense. Because when you respect yourself, your energy speaks for you. So for the next 3 days, and hopefully long after that, treat yourself like someone who matters. Speak to yourself with dignity. Set boundaries without apology. Lift your head. Protect your peace. And remember this, the way you treat yourself teaches the world how to treat you. Make sure the lesson is one worth learning. Say it with your chest. I deserve to be treated with respect, even by me. And from this moment on, act like it. I forgive myself for not knowing better before. That sentence right there, that's freedom. See, one of the heaviest things people carry isn't regret. It's the shame they wrap around it. It's the way we beat ourselves up over things we didn't even have the tools to handle at the time. You made some choices that didn't work out. You stayed too long. You left too soon. You said too much. You didn't say enough. And now, every time you look in the mirror, you don't just see who you are, you see who you were when you were struggling, confused, or hurt. But here's the thing. You've got to stop judging the old you with the knowledge the current you has. Life doesn't give you a manual. Most of the time, we're out here figuring it out as we go, trying to make sense of our pain, our past, our purpose. And while you're out here learning, yes, you're going to fall. You're going to misread people. You're going to chase the wrong things. You're going to do what you thought was right and find out later that it wasn't. That doesn't make you a failure. That makes you human. But we're not taught how to be gentle with ourselves. We're taught to punish, to replay our mistakes on a loop, to keep ourselves humble by holding on to guilt. But that guilt, it doesn't make you better. It makes you stuck. You can't grow into your next season if you're still trying to punish yourself for how you handled the last one. And you can't build self-love on top of self-hate. It just doesn't work like that. Forgiveness isn't saying what happened was okay. It's not pretending you weren't hurt or that you didn't cause pain. It's acknowledging the truth, but choosing not to let it define you forever. You're not the same person you were back then. And if you've grown, if you've learned, if you're doing the work to be better, then you owe yourself some compassion. Talk to yourself like someone who's been through it and made it. Someone who survived stuff people never even saw. Someone who didn't quit when quitting would have been easy. Remind yourself that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And now you know better, so you'll do better. That's growth. That's progress. That's the real win. Let me ask you something. Would you talk to your younger self the way you talk to yourself now? Would you tell that version of you that they were worthless, stupid, broken? I doubt it. You'd probably say, I get it. You were doing your best. You didn't know. So why not give that same grace to the person you are today? Why not speak to yourself like someone who deserves peace, not punishment? And let me say this because someone needs to hear it. You don't have to keep replaying your lowest moments to prove you've changed. You don't have to stay small to make up for who you used to be. You don't have to keep living in the shadow of a past you can't change. you get to start again. You get to move forward, but you've got to release the weight you've been carrying first. So for these next 3 days, every time your mind drifts back to that mistake, that decision, that moment that still haunts you, I want you to pause and say it out loud. I forgive myself for not knowing better before. Say it until your spirit starts to believe it. Say it until that tightness in your chest loosens. Say it until the voice of shame starts to lose its grip. Forgiveness is not weakness. It's power. It's reclaiming your time, your energy, your joy. It's choosing peace over punishment. It's saying, yes, that happened, but I'm still worthy of love, of healing, of a new beginning. You've already paid enough. You've cried enough. You've doubted yourself long enough. Now, it's time to let go, not just because you deserve forgiveness, but because holding on to shame is blocking you from the life that's waiting for you. You don't need permission. You just need to start. So start today. Say it and mean it. I forgive myself for not knowing better before. That's the kind of talk that sets you free. I don't chase. I attract. Those 5 words can change the way you carry yourself, the way you move through the world, and most importantly, the way you think. See, too many people are caught in the habit of chasing people, chasing validation, chasing opportunities. And let me tell you, chasing wears you down. It makes you tired. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you feel like you're not enough unless you're constantly proving, pleasing, or performing. But what if I told you that the real shift happens when you stop chasing and start believing that what's meant for you will find you when you're grounded in who you really are? Think about it. When you're chasing something, the message you send to yourself and to the world is that you don't already have what it takes, that you're lacking, that you need something or someone else to complete you. But when you flip that mindset and say, I don't chase, I attract, what you're really saying is, I know my value, I know my energy, I know my worth, and I trust that it's enough to bring the right people and the right opportunities to me. Now don't get it twisted. This isn't about sitting back and doing nothing. It's not about being lazy or waiting for miracles to drop into your lap. It's about alignment. It's about matching your actions with the belief that you are already worthy of good things. When you carry yourself like someone who doesn't need to beg for a seat at the table, people take notice. You walk into rooms differently. You speak differently. You make choices based on your values, not your fears. That's power. That's magnetism. And that's how attraction works. You attract what you believe you deserve. If deep down you believe you're not good enough, you'll keep calling in situations that confirm that. People who don't see your worth, jobs that don't respect your time, relationships that make you feel small. That's why changing how you talk to yourself is so important, because your words shape your mindset, and your mindset shapes your reality. Start telling yourself, I attract peace, I attract loyalty, I attract love that's consistent and safe. I attract money because I bring value. I attract people who support and respect me. I attract opportunities that match my potential. Say it every morning. Say it when doubt creeps in. Say it until it becomes the way you see yourself. Let's talk about confidence for a second. Real confidence doesn't come from being loud or flashy. It comes from knowing you don't have to force what's real. It comes from understanding that if something or someone leaves your life, it's making room for something better. When you believe in your own energy, you stop panicking when things don't go your way. You stop begging. You stop lowering your standards. You trust the timing of your life and keep showing up as the best version of yourself. And when people try to test that belief, when life tries to shake your confidence, you don't crumble, you reset. You remind yourself, I don't chase, I attract. You remind yourself that what left wasn't meant to stay. that what passed you by wasn't your blessing, that what's truly aligned with you won't need to be forced. Every time you choose to speak with that kind of clarity and confidence, you raise your energy, you raise your expectations, and the world starts to adjust to meet you where you are. That's not magic, that's mindset. That's self-respect. That's what happens when you shift from a desperate frequency to one of abundance. So for these next 3 days, I want you to stop running after things that drain you. Stop messaging people who don't respond. Stop giving chances to energy that doesn't match yours. And start focusing inward. Start building your peace, your goals, your joy. Start talking to yourself like someone who knows what they bring to the table. Because the truth is, when you walk in your power, you don't have to chase a thing. The right things are drawn to you naturally. Say it with intention. I don't chase, I attract. Say it like you mean it. Say it until your spirit believes it. And watch how your life begins to shift. I am allowed to take up space. That might sound like a small statement, but it's huge, especially if you've ever been made to feel like you're too much or not enough, too loud, too quiet, too emotional, too confident, too ambitious. People will try to shrink you down to what makes them comfortable. They'll tell you to stay in your lane, dim your light, or play small because your presence makes them nervous. But let me tell you something. You were not put on this earth to tiptoe through life. You have dreams, ideas, gifts, opinions, energy, and all of it is valid. All of it deserves to be seen, heard, and respected. You do not have to apologize for existing fully. You don't have to shrink to fit into someone else's version of you. You don't need permission to stand tall. You were born with purpose, and that purpose has power. When you talk to yourself like you're allowed to show up in every room with confidence, without guilt, you start to live differently. A lot of people, especially those who have been overlooked or dismissed, carry this weight, the weight of silence. They walk into rooms and immediately make themselves small. They speak with hesitation, they laugh quietly, they hide their opinions, and they wait for someone else to tell them it's okay to be who they are. But you don't need a stamp of approval to be yourself. You don't need to wait for the world to say, okay, now you're allowed to shine. You've been allowed since day one. Start saying this to yourself every morning. I am allowed to take up space. Say it when you sit at the table. Say it when you speak your truth. Say it when someone tries to interrupt you or question your worth. You don't owe the world silence just to keep others comfortable. You owe yourself the chance to show up with everything you've got. Your full voice, your full presence, your full self. This mindset isn't about being arrogant or disrespectful. It's about standing in your worth. There's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence says, I belong here, and so do you. Arrogance says, only I belong here. What we're talking about is the kind of strength that allows you to be bold and kind at the same time. Strong and humble, present and peaceful. You can be powerful without putting anyone else down. But make no mistake, you have to be willing to stop putting yourself down. People won't always give you the space you deserve. That's just the truth. Sometimes you've got to claim it. Sometimes you've got to walk into a room like you were invited, even when you weren't. Sometimes you've got to raise your hand, speak up, step forward, and remind yourself that you matter. Because if you keep waiting for someone else to make room for you, you might be waiting forever. This world is loud. There's a lot of noise telling you who you should be. But the voice that matters most is your own. So let it speak. Let it be clear, let it be proud, and let it be enough. Because it is. You are enough just as you are. And you have every right to take up space in your relationships, in your job, in your dreams, and in your own life. For these next 3 days, every time you feel like holding back, I want you to say it to yourself. I am allowed to take up space. Say it when you enter the room. Say it when you look in the mirror. Say it when doubt creeps in. Say it when you're about to stay quiet, but you know you've got something to say. Because that voice inside of you, it deserves to be heard. That light inside of you, it deserves to be seen. Stop apologizing for being here. Stop questioning whether you're enough. Start owning who you are. Start believing that your presence is not a burden, it's a blessing. You were never meant to shrink. You were meant to stand tall. So do it. And remind yourself every day, I am allowed to take up space. I'm not behind. I'm right on time. Now let that sink in. We live in a world that constantly tries to rush us. Social media is full of highlight reels. Everybody's getting married, starting businesses, traveling the world, buying houses, building brands, and all before breakfast. And when you look around and compare your life to all that, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind, like you missed the train, like you're running late for a life you were supposed to have figured out by now. But let me tell you something, there is no deadline on becoming the person you're meant to be. Life is not a race, it's not a contest, and it's definitely not a checklist. You are not behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Every twist, every turn, every slow season is part of your path. Even the setbacks, even the silence, even the times you felt stuck, those were still steps forward. Because you were learning, you were growing, you were becoming. See, people have different seasons. Some bloom early, some bloom late. Some take off fast, and others move slow but steady. But the pace doesn't matter if the purpose is real. What matters is that you keep showing up, that you keep walking, that you keep trusting that your time is coming, even if it hasn't shown up yet. And when you stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20, you start feeling peace again. You start appreciating your journey. Start speaking this truth over your life. I'm not behind, I'm right on time. Say it when you feel the pressure. Say it when you get discouraged. Say it when someone else's success makes you question your own. That statement isn't just a feel-good line, it's a lifeline. Because when you believe it, you stop rushing, you stop forcing, you stop beating yourself up over where you think you should be, and you start planting your feet where you are and building something real. It's easy to look back and wish you had done things differently, that you had started sooner, made better choices, chosen a different path. But the truth is, everything you've been through got you here. And here is not a bad place to be. You're still growing, you're still becoming, and you've still got time. So don't let the pressure make you forget the progress. Sometimes life slows you down on purpose. Sometimes the waiting seasons are there to teach you what hustle can't. They build character. They develop patience. They give you strength. And when the time is right, you'll be ready. Not just for the opportunity, but for the responsibility that comes with it. You don't want what you're not ready for. You don't want blessings that you can't handle yet. That's why the timing matters. That's why your journey is tailor-made for you. So stop trying to copy someone else's path. Stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler and start living by your own timing. Because when you trust your own pace, you find your own peace. Tell yourself every day, I'm right on time. Say it when the job doesn't come through. Say it when the relationship ends. Say it when the dream feels distant, because you never know what's being prepared for you behind the scenes. You never know what doors are being aligned, what rooms are being opened, what lessons are being learned, all for your benefit. And remember, success without peace is still failure. You don't just want the destination, you want the joy of the journey. So breathe, walk your path, be proud of your progress, even if it looks different than someone else's. You are not late, you are not less, you are not lost. You are living your story, and it's unfolding exactly how it's supposed to. So for the next 3 days, and every day after that, talk to yourself with grace, speak over yourself with patience, and remind yourself with confidence, I'm not behind, I'm right on time.